Hey everybody, David here, and today I want to talk about my top 10 movies of 2021. So let's get started. There's no distractions here, hopefully. And let me first tell you guys the five movies that I have to put in honorable mentions. These did not make the top 10, but I felt I should mention them anyways because I really enjoyed a lot of movies this year. There is one in particular that would never make my list, but I'm not here to talk about that one. I don't like talking about the movies I was disappointed with. I like talking about the movies I was in love with. And so let's talk about the ones that almost made the top 10, starting off with Cruella. Cruella was one of those. Emma Stone was fantastic, so was Emma Thompson. One of the better live action Disney remakes, even though I've enjoyed most of them for the most part. I know some people are a little tougher on them. I enjoyed all the live action, a lot of them, the live action remakes. Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, maybe Mulan are still in my top three. Oh, Jungle Book. Jungle Book is definitely still my favorite. So there you go. Moving on, Dune is also another movie I have on this list. Really thought Denis Villeneuve did an incredible job. I never read the book, but I'm looking forward to part two. I thought the cast was fantastic, especially Timothy Chalamet, who's knocking out of the park every time he shows up. Luca, another Pixar film. I love Pixar animation, so I had to. I'm sad that it didn't make the top 10. Last year, I think Soul made my top 10. Luca was really good though. It was just tough competition this year. Moving on, Ghostbusters Afterlife. I really enjoyed this movie a lot. Sad that it didn't make my top 10, but once again, it's just a tough year. Finally, also almost made my list, Black Widow. I loved Black Widow. I thought it was great seeing Natasha get the spotlight, focused solely on her. Scarlett Johansson was great. Florence Pugh was great. Glad we got to see her again in the Hawkeye series. And of course, David Harbour and Rachel Weisz were all terrific. Finally, let's get into my top 10. What were the top 10 movies of the year for me? Number 10, I have Tick, Tick, Boom. Andrew Garfield's performance alone is worth checking out this movie for. Just that on its own. It's just like Andrew Garfield is totally amazing in this movie. I like musicals, and it's not like a full out musical. There's songs scattered throughout the film, but there's times where they talk too. So I don't know. Some people I know don't like musicals. I don't understand why. I think life would be better if it was a musical. So there you go. Moving on to number 9, I have Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. There was a time where I probably would have put Black Widow over this. But this movie has grown on me the second and third times I watched it on Disney Plus. I saw it the first time in theaters and then on Disney Plus afterwards. And yeah, it has grown on me a lot. I really do love that father son dynamic in this movie. I love the supporting characters. Trevor Slattery, played by Ben Kingsley, was great from the get go for me. But yeah, everything else has grown more and more on me as I rewatched it a couple more times. Number 8, I have Encanto. This is Walt Disney Animation's and newest animated movie. It just came out on Disney Plus recently. I saw it in theaters back in October. What a great, delightful film. Music from Lin-Manuel Miranda, who, funny enough, also helped. I think he directed Tick Tick Boom. So, yeah, if you love Lin-Manuel Miranda, his music, his style, I totally recommend both Tick Tick Boom and Encanto. But Encanto, it really feels. I think he also did the music for Moana, which he did a really great job for too. I like Encanto and Moana are such great films. Watch Encanto if you haven't gone and seen it yet. It's on Disney Plus. You have no excuse now. Moving on to number 7, I have the Ryan Reynolds comedy Free Guy. This movie was such a delight. I had such a great time with it. I loved the video game aspect and how it integrated. Plus, there's a nice little love story within the movie too that got me to smile a lot. Yeah, it was a really nice movie, man. Really funny at times. I liked it a lot. So Number 7 it is. Number 6, I have The Suicide Squad. If you see my superhero list, you probably know where certain superhero movies are going to land. And The Suicide Squad goes right here. It's such a funny film. James Gunn knocks it out of the park. I love the Guardians of the Galaxy films that he also directed. But this one, he even gets to go more loose with it because Warner Brothers was like, do whatever you want. You want to make it rated R, make it rated R. And the characters like Polka Dot Man and King Shark, some that I were familiar with, some I wasn't. So it was great to see some new characters that never got time to shine, that, you know, got that opportunity in this movie. And that's the great thing about James Gunn. He likes using characters that people are not familiar with. And that's why Guardians of the Galaxy are like an A-list group of characters now. And that's why the Suicide Squad just got that same treatment right now too. Even though I like the first Suicide Squad, this one definitely blows the other one away. Moving on to number 5, I have The Eternals. What a great cast. Chloe Zhao did a terrific MCU movie. I don't understand why the critics were split on this. Like, why did some of them hate it? Why did some of them love it? I think this movie is great. And for people that are clamoring for superhero movies to be different, this one really delivered on that. It did feel very different for the MCU. And the cast was great. So anyways, moving on. Let's go into number 4, which is Zack Snyder's Justice League. I actually almost forgot to put this one on my superhero list. I had to re-record that one. This time, I did not forget. Zack Snyder's Justice League. What a really good redemption story for Zack Snyder. I love the cast in this film. Ben Affleck felt like the Ben Affleck that he was in Batman v Superman, just carrying on where he left off last time. You feel that lighter tone in him. He's still the dark, brooding Batman that we all know and love, but there's something about him that has lightened up, not made into a joke like he was in the theatrical version. So I'm so glad everybody got to be redeemed. Henry Cavill was so great as Superman. When he suits up in the black suit and confronts Steppenwolf, that's like, if I saw that in the theaters, that would have been the clapping moment for everybody. Like, we would have all been clapping in the theaters. I definitely would have been. So, yeah, this movie, such joy that, look, it might not be canon anymore, but at least we now have it and we could have seen what could have been. And those of you that are still saying restore the Snyderverse, I think it's time to move on. This was the deal that we got, and I think Warner Brothers delivered. And if you love it, then love it. And if you don't, Warner Brothers isn't continuing from this one. They're continuing from the theatrical one. So hopefully the future will be much brighter if the Suicide Squad or other movies like Shazam have been any indication of where they're heading now. Moving on to number 3, I have Finch. This is a movie with Tom Hanks and a robot and a dog, and I loved it. Man, you can put Tom Hanks by himself with just robots, dogs, and volleyballs, and he will blow it out of the park. I love this movie. It tears me up every time I watched it, and it's such a heartwarming film. So if you haven't seen it, this one is on Apple TV Plus. So if you have Apple TV Plus, please check out this movie. I loved it. One of my favorites of the year so far, obviously. It's at number 3, so that's talking very highly about it. Go check it out. At number 2, I have No Time to Die. No Time to Die is the recent James Bond film. I know critics were a little bit more lower on this one. I thought it was one of the best Bond films by far. I still like Casino Royale and Skyfall a little bit more, but man, this one hits close to those two for me. So I thought it was, if this was the end of James Bond, which it is for Daniel Craig, I would be completely satisfied. I love the difference in tone that it was trying to give, like a more bigger theatrical experience kind of vibe. And it definitely delivered on that. And, you know, adding some twists and turns here and there throughout the film. I really enjoyed all of it. I can't spoil too much because I want you guys to go and check this movie out. I think it's one of the best Bond films, period. And Daniel Craig is fantastic. I thought the whole cast was great. Rami Malek as the villain was maybe a little underused, but I thought every time he was on screen, though, he was great. So moving on to my number one. If you haven't guessed it already, Spider-Man No Way Home. This is my number one superhero film of this year, and it is my number one film, period, of 2021. There you go. So there's no other way to say it. Just go and see this movie. Go in blind. Don't listen. Don't read rumors or stuff like that. If you don't at all, then you're lucky. Go check out this movie. Enjoy it. Watch all the other Spider-Man movies that came before it first. I did a how to watch the Spider-Verse in chronological order. If you want, go and check that video out. And then go see Spider-Man No Way Home, because the experience of it will be much better if you have seen a lot of those films, or all of them, in my opinion. So, yeah, that's how I'm going to end this video, guys. I hope you like this video. Please comment below and tell me your top 10 lists. I like knowing what other people think. Sometimes there's movies that I don't have in my top 10. Maybe you'll have it. So don't get upset if you haven't seen your favorite movie here. This is just a list, my rankings. Nobody has to agree with it. I'm sure there's going to be a few that maybe, oh yeah, I like that movie too, or that movie. Leave it there. It shows our personalities, these lists. It shows the kind of stuff we're into and the kind of stuff that moves us. And that's what movies are supposed to do. They're supposed to move us in different ways. And look, I know Martin Scorsese will probably be pissed at me for putting Spider-Man and Zack Snyder's Justice League and Eternals and Suicide Squad and Shang-Chi in my top 10. But hey, that's what it is. That's who I am, and that's what I like. But hey, I got Tick Tick Boom and Finch here, which are obviously the more smaller films on this list. And I got Encanto and Free Guy. So those are some more original films, an animated film. So I think I'm nicely rounded when it comes to movies. So with that being said, until next time, everybody, take care.